Rachel Monroe used to command courtrooms like stages and headlines like royalty. Once hailed as the most formidable attorney in New York City, she built a legacy on her razor-sharp intellect, relentless drive, and ability to win cases no one else would touch. But all of that was before the accident, the one that stole not just the use of her legs, but her sense of purpose, identity, and belonging. Now, 3 years later, she sat nearly invisible on a park bench in Granillo Park, dressed in a tailored black suit, oversized sunglasses shielding her from recognition. Her wheelchair, a sleek silver frame that seemed to mock her once powerful stride, sat beneath her like an anchor. She didn't come here for peace or people. She came here to disappear. Until a boy with blonde hair, freckles, and too much confidence. For a 7-year-old plopped down in front of her. "Are you the lady who used to laugh in my grandma's kitchen?" he asked brightly. Rachel blinked. She wasn't sure she'd heard him correctly. "What did you say?" she asked, voice stiff with disbelief. "Were you the lady who used to laugh in my grandma's kitchen?" Rachel's lips parted slightly. She pushed her sunglasses down the bridge of her nose to get a better look at him. The boy had an honest face, eyes full of curiosity, and a relaxed way of speaking, like he belonged to the world and trusted it to be kind. "And who's your grandma?" she asked slowly. "Miss Eleanor Parker," he said proudly. "You used to live in her house. Or, I mean, she used to work in yours?" A jolt of memory ran down Rachel's spine. Eleanor Parker. That name had once meant something. Eleanor had been more than a housekeeper. She was the woman who brought warmth into a cold house, who taught Rachel how to cook scrambled eggs after law school finals, who sang lullabies to Rachel's daughter when Rachel was too tired to stay awake. Eleanor had been family once. Rachel swallowed. "I haven't heard that name in a long time." The boy nodded solemnly. "My grandma said you were a tough cookie, but had a good heart." Rachel smiled faintly despite herself. "Is that so?" "She said you used to win arguments even with your cat." Rachel let out a soft chuckle. "That sounds like her." "You fired her," the boy said, tilting his head. "My grandma said it broke her heart." Rachel stiffened. The sunlight grew colder. The boy continued. "She never said why. Just that it was a bad day, and you were hurting." Rachel looked away. Her fingers curled against her lap, brushing the pearl necklace at her collar, the same one she'd accused Eleanor of stealing. It had all unraveled after that. Her marriage, her friendships, and her faith in people. Eleanor had tried to speak, but Rachel had been too angry to listen. "What's your name?" she asked finally. "Charlie," he said. "Charlie Bennett." "Well, Charlie Bennett," Rachel said softly, "why are you here?" "Because I want to help you walk again." She blinked. "You're what? 7?" he grinned. 8 next month. And I'm not magic or anything. I just know something. The doctors don't." Rachel smiled thinly. "You're a very interesting kid." Charlie shrugged. "Grandma said you might not believe me right away." "That's okay. And what exactly do you know?" she asked, amused but curious. Charlie leaned forward. "That you can't heal what you never forgave." That night, Rachel didn't sleep. Instead, she stared at the ceiling of her penthouse apartment, untouched for months. The furniture was clean, polished, perfect, and cold. Like her, she thought of Eleanor, of how she'd left that day without tears, how she'd folded her apron and placed it neatly on the kitchen table. She never raised her voice, not once. Just left. Rachel had been so certain, so angry. Daniel, her husband at the time, had spun the lie like a seasoned politician. The necklace was missing. Eleanor was the only one home. The evidence felt too convenient, but Rachel believed it. Or maybe she just needed someone to blame. The accident came a year later. Daniel had already vanished, taking most of their savings with him. Then the car crash. A reckless driver ran a red light. 2 broken vertebrae. Dozens of surgeries. And the slow, cruel realization that she might never walk again. When she woke up, Eleanor wasn't there. Of course not. Rachel had cast her out long before. The next day, she went back to the park. Charlie was already there, throwing pebbles into the pond. "You came back," he exclaimed, pleased. "I had questions," she said. He nodded. "Good. But first, you owe me a story." "A story?" "About my grandma. A good one." Rachel smiled faintly. "All right, let's see. Once, when I was 8 months pregnant and terrified about giving birth, Eleanor showed up to work with a peach cobbler and said, 'Miss Rachel, I've raised 5 babies and buried 1 husband. You think I can't handle a little labor?' Charlie giggled. "She stayed with me through the whole night," Rachel added, her voice quieter now. "She was the first one to hold my daughter." "Do you miss her?" he asked after a pause. Rachel couldn't bring herself to answer. Instead, she asked, "Did you bring your magic?" Charlie nodded. "Close your eyes and think about her cobbler. Cinnamon and sugar." Rachel sighed but obeyed. Nothing. She opened her eyes. Still nothing. "That's okay," he said. "We'll try again tomorrow." Each day became part of her routine. Rachel and Charlie sat by the pond. She told stories. He listened. Some days they laughed. Some days Rachel cried. One day he brought a shoebox tied with pink ribbon. "What's this?" she asked. "Letters," he said. "From Grandma, all to you. She wrote them after you fired her." Rachel's hands trembled as she opened the box. Inside were dozens of handwritten notes. Some were birthday cards. Some were pages torn from journals. Some were full letters. She picked one up. Dated 3 years ago. "I forgive you, even if you never forgive me. Because love is stronger than mistakes." Rachel clutched the paper to her chest and wept. That night, she sat in her living room and stared at the necklace. Daniel had returned it one day after the divorce, muttering, "It turned up." No apology. No explanation. Eleanor had never taken it. She called her driver, Ben Carter. "Did you know?" she asked him. He didn't answer right away. Then quietly, "I heard the rumors." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you weren't ready to believe anything but your pain." Rachel exhaled. "She needs heart surgery. I want to help. I can arrange." "No, anonymous. She can't know it's from me." 3 days later, the surgery was scheduled. Paid in full. Rachel told Charlie the news. "You did it?" He grinned. She nodded. "You're really coming back." Rachel laughed. "No, Charlie, I'm just finally starting." He tilted his head. "Then let's try again." She closed her eyes. Thought of Eleanor's laugh, her humming, the cobbler. She gasped. "I felt something," she whispered. Charlie's eyes widened. "You did?" "A twitch in my toe." He whooped with joy. A week later, Rachel stood on crutches. Not far, not fast, but upright. She wrote a letter to Eleanor. A real letter, ink on paper. "Dear Eleanor, there aren't enough pages in the world to carry my sorrow. But I hope this one carries my apology. You were my constant, my lighthouse. I failed you. I forgive myself now, and I hope one day you might too. Love always, your girl, Rachel." She gave it to Charlie. He promised to deliver it. The surgery was successful. Eleanor recovered. A week later, Ben drove Rachel to a yellow house with lavender bushes and wind chimes. Rachel rang the bell. When Eleanor opened the door, her eyes widened. "Rachel?" "I'm sorry," Rachel whispered. "I was scared, and I hurt you." Eleanor stepped forward, hands trembling. "You're walking. Not well." "But yes." They collapsed into each other's arms. Later, Rachel returned the necklace. It belongs to you. Eleanor placed it around her neck. No, my girl. It belongs to both of us. A month later, Rachel stood beneath an old oak tree in Granillo Park. Grief nearly stole everything from me, she said to the gathered crowd. But a boy reminded me, healing starts inside. That day, the Monroe Foundation for Family Recovery was born. After the speech, Charlie handed her a drawing dot. It showed Rachel standing, holding hands with him and Eleanor beneath a sky full of stars. Rachel knelt and hugged him. Where did you come from, Charlie? He smiled. Grandma always said the heart finds what it needs when it's finally ready. Rachel didn't need anything else. She could walk again. But more importantly, she could live again. And for the first time in years, she was finally home.